Yeah, we didn't have hoodies 18 months ago, so I'm so glad I've been invited back so I can get my hoodie. Very exciting. So thank you so much, Sarah. That's really nice. So it was 18 months ago I was here, and there's one thing they don't tell you. There's so much they don't tell you about becoming a parent. Your first-time mum, there's just so much they don't tell you. And one of the things they don't tell you is that if you were sitting there quietly in a job that you had for about 10, 15 years, and deep down inside there was this entrepreneur that you knew nothing about, as soon as you become a parent, this entrepreneur becomes unleashed. And you are slapped by this entrepreneur. Why does having a baby suddenly bring out the entrepreneur in you? I have no idea, but it does. And I think it's something to do with the fact that you've got this astronomical mega task of introducing a new human being into society. You're on a steep learning curve. You're suddenly growing and learning so fast. And all the problems in the world you've got an answer for, and all the gaps in the market you suddenly can see. And you know, there's always a gap in the market. And I don't know what it is about becoming a parent, but this ability and strength to say, to know that I am going to do this. This is the best idea ever. I have passion, and I will take this to the nth degree. So there I was during maternity leave doing my service startup, which was Holding Your Hand was the name of the company. It's medical navigation for patients. Patient journeys. And what does that mean? Well, it was just a human service, and it was people going through IVF, egg freezing, cancer, that human service of having a navigator, someone who you're not afraid of. It's not a doctor, it's not a nurse, it's not your hospital, it's not the second opinion, it's just your independent advocate. And so during maternity leave, did a little mini pilot and thought, oh, that's quite good, it's got a lot of traction, it's worked really well. And I didn't know that was my minimum viable product, but it was. I had no idea what MVP meant at the time. And then luckily someone kind of kicked me and said, apply to this, Campus for Mums at the time. And I just thought, why would I do that? This is a human service. I don't know anything about computers. Every computer is allergic to me. If I go near a computer, it will turn itself off. I've spent my entire life in operating rooms. We don't use computers except to look up CT scans. There is no way I'm going to this Campus for Mums. Luckily, he managed to make me really appreciate that in this day and age, you just can't do without tech. And frankly, if you are that bad that you can't hyperlink and you don't know how Twitter works, you really need to immerse yourself quickly. And you don't want to immerse yourself into the, deep end of Tech Hub or, scary stuff. And I came here thinking, oh, how embarrassing. But it's that pushing yourself to your limits. And I was totally out of my depth. And I got here and thought, how can I possibly be in this space full of techies? I'm out of my depth. But it's that challenge that makes you an entrepreneur, that says, right, I'm going to push myself again and again and again. And that was one of the first lessons I learned, to be able to say, I'm sorry, I don't know how to hyperlink. Who does it? Look at Sarah and say, why does Twitter matter? Why do I have to? Everybody told me about LinkedIn. Yes, I've got an account. I have never touched it. I have now, by the way. A lot has changed. Facebook, etc., etc. So there's so much to learn, and that kind of humility and kind of ability to just know that you haven't got it all and you need to learn fast is the kind of the buzz of being an entrepreneur. And then, Easy was standing here saying, well, who's read The Lean Startup? So I'm like, oh my God, I've got to read the Lean Startup, and luckily it was a free PDF, so instantly we're kind of reading away. Things that you've got to learn, lots to learn very quickly. But if you're techifying your totally non-tech service product, human service product, that's a growth that you are immersed in. And so as I read The Lean Startup and understood about pivoting and changing your product and being malleable and being flexible and knowing that this is a steep curve that I'm going to grow through, it was just, really invaluable. And so things changed quite dramatically. Had to get this service, human service, shift it into a digital platform, shift it into a scalable product, shift it into what the market wants, understand what market research is, run focus groups, which, by the way, you've got this space till 3 p.m, and that was like my first focus group was in here. Very, very, very useful. And, read the books that they tell you. So apart from Eric Ries's Lean Startup, the other one that was quite good was The Founder's Dilemmas. So anticipating and avoiding the pitfalls that can sink a startup by Noam Wasserman. I found that quite useful personally, because I was here as a sole founder, and one of the kind of earliest things you're told about is how important your team are to you. And there were quite a few couple co-founders, which was quite intimidating. I just thought, this is it, this is the magic. You do need a co-founder, you do need a business partner. It's a rocky road. When the chips are down, you've got to dig deep and you've got to dig deeper. And if you're a sole founder without that co-pilot, you kind of look around you and think, well, who's going to pull me out when it's hard? And that's why this group was amazing as well, because luckily, I was a sole founder, but there was a network. And the network that you get introduced to through everything that Sarah and the guys tell you here, things like Marici's here, but there's all sorts of networks here that really, really support you and give you that strength to keep going. So this team thing was one of my hard points. Really trying to find a business partner was pretty tough. And I kept thinking, what is it that I'm looking for? What is it? And the harder your product is, the bigger the ask is on the team, and the more you need to look for the skills and talents that you need. And if it's health tech and you're looking for health co-founders, you need to think, well, if I'm the health side, if I'm the doctor, where is the other person that needs to support me and needs to bring out those skills and talents? And if you don't find someone who is ready to put in the money, the time, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat and tears, then you are building a team. And in your team, that kind of trying to put together that team is pretty hard. You want to find people who really click together, and learning about the importance of humility and honesty. What are my weaknesses? What the hell is it that I don't have? What do I do terribly? Can you please stop me from rambling on too much, talking too fast? What are the dynamics of this team? How honest can we all be? How much transparency are we putting in here? And actually being transparent within the team. People, if somebody needs to say, look, I'm really sorry, but this isn't working out for me, it's fine, it's okay. Why is the product changing? The number of times your product will change as you go through this journey is crazy. How many times have I had to redo my financial spreadsheet? How many times have I had to change my deck again and again and again? It's constantly changing, and actually the more you're changing and the faster you're responding to what the market wants from you, the better your product will become in a shorter space of time. So we had this constant changing. I started off with this service, then it became a digital platform, then it became social media trying to target the individual's market, then it became very obvious after kind of turning on Google Analytics and spending over £1,000 on just 1 week of Facebook and LinkedIn, etc., realising actually everybody that's clicking here are expats. There's no one in London. There's no one in the UK who's interested. They're all expats. And well, what do we do with that? Okay, let's forget B2C and go to B2B and businesses. So travelling. I gave a talk in July in Switzerland, and off the back of that, I suddenly had billion-dollar industries contacting me saying, this is the insurance market, health insurance market, saying, can you come and talk to us and tell us exactly what it is you do? And I'm like, well, I pinch myself thinking, how the hell did that talk that I gave about a few people who'd been through a personal journey of cancer or IVF, or there were 4 cases that I basically told the story when I was there, and it was an hour's talk. How's that suddenly opened this B2B market? And I am terrified of businesses, corporations. I'm just a human person. I don't, financial spreadsheets and kind of being, really savvy and negotiating and strategic and all that stuff. It's not my forte. So what do I need to do? Find that person, put that team together and keep looking for people. And that's hard, that's really hard. And so what I learnt also that was very helpful was just get out there and talk about it, because somebody will hear about you, somebody will put you with someone. There is no way that your idea is going to suddenly be copied. Why? Because if it was easy to do the life of an entrepreneur and succeed at it, everybody would be doing it. It's hard, and your great idea is is the thing that makes your heart beat and you're passionate about. And so the more you talk about it and the more you kind of, obviously you have to trust people, obviously there are things that you can't share, but the more you're out there and you're networking and you realise and you appreciate the benefit of kind of diversity and collaboration and how much more you can achieve in that mindset, the quicker you'll fly and you'll progress. And that was, there's all these things that I had to learn from over the last 18 months, actually, since when I got here and things changed from a service-driven human service to a digital product. Anyway, there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur parent, frankly, and being here is phenomenal. The opportunities are amazing. The funding opportunities are fantastic. SEIS was introduced about 3 years ago, and there was when the elections happened, there was suddenly this fear that the Labour government would come in and suddenly SEIS would be scrapped. But that's an amazing opportunity. There's lots of funding opportunities around social enterprises, and there's so many talks to go to that you'll just pick up so much. It's a really, really, really exciting thing. And I think I'll kind of, what do I want to finish off on? I think probably that feeling of my product is changing again, that kind of, is there something, am I getting something wrong here? That feeling of, this is uncomfortable and I keep having to change my product. Why is this happening? And there are times when you start pinching yourself. And if you are a sole founder, then you do need an amazing group of advisors and people and network around you. I know couples who got divorced and still work with each other and have a very successful business. Co-founding is very hard. Having a perfect team is really hard. Going through the journey of startup is about communication and about openness and being able to talk to people and reach out for help and, give help. And so, when I had my November last year of kind of, am I going to give up? This is awful. I remember randomly being on Slack and suddenly Sue Black, who's one of the mentors here, being on at the same time. And I was like, oh my God, I feel terrible. How am I going to do it? How did you do it? And she's got an amazing story. There are so many people with amazing stories here. And it was just so fantastic to just kind of bring myself out of that dark hole and then reach out to Ada's List and talk to people and kind of just get out of that dark place, because there are times when it is very, very, very hard and you can pull yourself out, and once you do, again, you're off flying. And who would have known that I'd be in this position now where I'm actually being asked that I'm teleconferencing in, telepresence, which I didn't know existed, telepresence. I was there in telepresence, and they're saying, well, is it going to be translated? Is it going to scale up? And do you understand that the size of the middle-class population of China is 585 million? And this is something that the middle-class population of China need to be able to access. How are you going to scale it? How are you going to do this? And being able to come up with answers and solutions, very, very scary. This timing is perfect because luckily I had the flu last week and it was amazing. I have not had a temperature since I was 18 years old and I needed it. I really needed to have a temperature and stay in bed and hide for a bit because it's a roller coaster. So the final note I would leave on is self-preservation. Stay healthy, be strong. Resilience is in you. You've found it because you've become an entrepreneur. So that's kind of one of the first things. You're resilient, and look after yourselves and enjoy the support, the network that's out there. So thanks, Sarah.